Live, Duncan, here we are. So how is New York? How is Biden? I mean, after Trump, that every 2 seconds we were hearing about Trump here in Europe, in the UK, and now Biden, no one hear about Biden, like zero. So is it okay? Is it okay?
Yeah, I think you described it perfectly. The same thing was even more true in the U.S., where politics was all we heard about for 4 years, and now it's just like totally on the back burner. And yeah, it's kind of nice. It gives people time to explore other interests like NFTs and
Yeah.
crypto.
Yeah, like peace and relax. And what about last time I think I interviewed Michael Saylor, the Biden executive order was just announced. But was it good? Is this something good? Do you see it good for the industry?
I think it turned out to be pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were pretty afraid when the executive order was announced, but yeah, I think it turned out to be mostly a positive for crypto regulation. And yeah, so I don't know. I think the U.S. is I live in New York, where the mayor Eric Adams is super crypto forward, and I also spent time in Miami, where the mayor there is also obsessed with crypto, and they even launched their own Miami coin. So I think the
Yeah.
politicians in the U.S. are honestly really excited about this new technology, and they want to. The U.S. has so many great tech companies in Web 2. I think people they want to make sure the U.S. has great web tech companies in Web 3 as well. So people are supportive overall.
That's great. That's great. I have the feeling, but I don't know if it's a bias because I'm into the industry and I'm passionate about everything happening, and I only read news about, I'm in the rabbit hole of NFT and this kind of stuff. But my feeling is that the negative perception that I saw just 6 months ago about NFTs, I remember when I launched my first NFT on Italian market, all the comments were, you are a scammer, that's a fraud, that's a Ponzi scheme, how dare you, you lost your reputation. I get the worst of the worst. And now after 6 months, I would say it's pretty good. I mean, people start to understand. I read the news today that the Vatican is launching its own NFT. Maybe it's on Nifty Gateway, I don't know. And when the Vatican launches an NFT, you think, wow, this starts to be kind of mainstream. What's your perception?
I think you're totally right. I think it's just a natural human instinct to sort of fear and even hate new technology. I mean, there's this old article I love from 1907, which is basically the whole point of the article is like bicycles are evil and we can't let them take over our cities because like they're going to kill us all. And I'm like, I think about that article whenever I see a backlash to a new technology, because I mean, come on, how could you get more harmless than a bicycle? That's like the coolest new technology ever, that gets rid of cars, makes it easier to get places, like helps people exercise. And yet even then people were terrified when the bicycle first came out. So yeah, I think it's normal, and I think you're right. I think we're moving past that initial stage of fear and skepticism with NFTs, and people are just starting to realize that an NFT is just an invention. It's just a tool. Some people are going to use it in a bad way. Some people are going to use it in a great way.
Yeah, definitely. When we talk about NFT marketplaces, I have obviously several questions about Nifty, but I give you this feedback. I asked my community. I said, look, I'm gonna have a chat with the Nifty Gateway founder, and what would you ask? And I tried to compare it when I was collecting questions about OpenSea. And it's the same feeling that I go from the difference that I see between iPhone and Android. So Nifty Gateway feels like, oh, iPhone, oh my gosh, that's super premium, super quality. And OpenSea is like, scams and very, dodgy. Everyone can be there. Yeah, everyone is OpenSea. Is this something that it just happened like that? Is something that you built into the product? Why do you think it's like? Oh, maybe it's wrong. It's just my perception.
No, I think I think it's honestly, we made a lot of really intentional decisions when we were building the marketplace, and that's why it ended up the way it is. And OpenSea made different decisions. So it OpenSea is totally open as a marketplace. Anyone could go create an NFT. They could go create a fake NFT and try and convince someone it was real and sell it. On Nifty Gateway, you have to be verified and you have to be approved by us in order to create an NFT. So there are no scams and there are no fake NFTs. And so, yeah, I think maybe the App Store is the right comparison. If Apple just let any app on the App Store, then people would download scam apps as well. They would probably download an app that hacked all their information and sent it to a foreign
Yeah.
government or something like that. But Apple is really, they spend a lot of time and they have a huge team of people who all they do is review apps to make sure they're okay. That's kind of the way that Nifty Gateway is also. It requires a lot more energy and commitment, but yeah, I think it makes a safer shopping experience for the end user. And I think a lot of, especially the people who are not, uh, you know, really, really experienced with crypto technologies, the people who are just sort of dipping their toe and learning NFTs for the first time, I think it really makes a difference with those sorts of people. Because we don't, honestly, I mean, if someone gets scammed and they just don't want to come back, they just give up on the whole NFT
Definitely.
concept. Yeah.
Definitely. For people who are not familiar, like how many requests, if it's a public data, do you receive like on a daily, monthly base to be on Nifty? How big is what's the size of the team that has to select and curate? Because it's a big effort. It's much easier to say, look, this is a marketplace, do it yourself, and good luck with that.
Totally. The team who selects is about 12 people now.
Right.
As far as applications, I think we get around 100 per day. I haven't checked the exact number, but it's
Okay.
certainly a lot of applications. And yeah, it's very difficult for us to deal with, and we spend a lot of time and energy sorting through trying to find the best applications and curate the best content. Yeah, so you're right. It is a big effort. That team works incredibly hard, but ultimately we think it's the right decision, and it really makes a Nifty Gateway a safe experience and an easy way to get started collecting NFTs.
Are you also, Duncan, proactive? So are you chasing also for some kind of project or artist or company, celebrities that say, look, we would love to have you on Nifty, so you're not only passive and waiting and selecting?
Absolutely, yeah, we are. When we see something that we think could be an excellent NFT, or when we have a cool idea for an NFT drop, we totally go after it. And we try and pitch the creator on it. And I mean, really, we think we kind of view it as our job to help push the NFT medium forward and to help people do new things with NFTs that get more people into the space, that get people excited. And that really showcase the power of the technology. So coming up with cool creative projects, that's one of our favorite things to do. And yeah, we absolutely push forward on.
Got it.
Mhm.
I'm not artistic at all, Duncan. I don't know if you are. Are you an artist, like a little bit, or
No, not even a
no?
little bit. Whenever I try it, it just turns out it doesn't turn out very well. So I never want to show anyone, but maybe one day.
Great. So whatever is your no, my no is minus 3,000. I'm horrible with art.
It's
But
hard. It's so hard.
it's really hard. I've never been creative or artistic in any way, but I'm an entrepreneur, and many entrepreneurs out there or freelance, they say, or companies, they say, well, we want to use NFTs, because as you said, it's just a technology, and we want to use smart contracts to do several stuff. So there is this big trend of utility NFTs, a la VFriends or VCon, which is a ticket, or the NFT that I use for my community. They are all utility NFT. You buy the NFT, you get my book or stuff like that. And then you have, I've been speaking with Shopify, and they predict this big token-gated commerce trend. So e-commerce filtered by your token based on your NFTs, we give you different access. Where is Nifty in this scenario? Are you only like focus on art, or 90% on art, or open to anything else? How do you see?
Well, really, at Nifty, we like to talk about it in sort of multiple different different ways. So, the curated drops that we do where we work directly with artists, those are mostly focused with art
Yeah.
right now. But then we also have a secondary marketplace where people can buy and sell NFTs of all different types. That content is still vetted. We still make sure it's authentic and legitimate so that people don't buy scams. But on the secondary market, yeah, people can buy all sorts of different NFTs from all sorts of different creators. And I mean, we've been in NFTs long enough to see that there are all these different use cases for NFTs. I think we've really only scratched the surface. And I always like to remind, when I first got started in NFTs, metaverse land was the big category. That was what everybody was buying and
Right.
selling. Then it became art, and now I think PFPs have sort of become the biggest category. So everyone's always asking, like, what's next? What's the next category? I don't think anyone really knows, but we definitely, yeah, the curated drops that we do really are sort of focused on art, but we have a big secondary marketplace where people can buy and sell anything else. And it's really, really easy for people to get started collecting NFTs that have never, the nice part about the secondary marketplace is you don't have to have a crypto wallet to use it. You don't have to have cryptocurrency. You can just sign up with an email password and a credit card and buy NFTs.
Interesting. Talking about metaverse land, how do you comment the $300 million plus Yuga Labs the sales yesterday? Just but when you see those numbers after a few years, do you just think, all right, another $300 million drop has happened? I mean, I'm impressed. I mean, $300 million in a weekend is not so
Oh,
easy.
totally. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. It's true. I think Yuga has basically a history of delivering value, and if you minted a Bored Ape for 0.08 ETH, now it's worth, like, I don't know, 150 ETH or something like that. And then not only that, but you also got the airdrop of the Bored Ape Kennel Club, the Mutant Ape, the Ape token. So when you have a history of delivering value like that, people are absolutely going to show up huge for your next primary market sale. I mean, we see that same dynamic all the time in NFTs. The same thing
Mm.
goes for artists. I mean, we had last year we did a $92 million sale of an artwork with Pac. 29,000 people participated, and the reason was, earlier that year we had a sale that the total sold was 17 million, but everything from that first sale was way up on the secondary market. Excuse me. And when you see that sort of, when collectors see that sort of price appreciation, then yeah, they immediately show up to the next primary market sale. That's just a pattern in all of NFTs. So yeah, I think it was very impressive, without a doubt. I
Another
think it
one
was
impressive. Also Moonbirds was very impressive by Kevin Rose. I mean, another interesting project with a lot of utilities and a technology idea, classic startup approach, I would say.
totally. Yeah, I do wish Yuga had thought through the contract a little bit more, though.
Right.
It
What do
was,
you mean?
oh well, the way the land sale basically clogged the Ethereum network for
Oh,
two
got it.
hours. Yeah,
Yeah. And $100 million, I think, in Ether fees or something like crazy.
yeah, it was 175 million just gone. It disappeared, and I think it was unfortunately, I think they could have come up with a mechanism to prevent it. So it's really too bad to see something like that. Um,
Do you think that this gas fee situation gonna be solved sooner or later? I mean, of course, gonna be solved sooner or later, and hopefully with the merge sooner or later. I mean, it should be better. Or you think that also for Nifty, different blockchains? What's your take on that?
I think the way that people use the blockchains are going to evolve. I don't think there will ever be a scenario where you can just clog a fee bearing blockchain like Ethereum and expect something like that not to happen. I mean, the way Ethereum and other blockchains are designed is that people have to pay fees to participate. That the reason that they have to pay fees to participate is to prevent the blockchain from being spammed. And if you don't have a fee market, you end up with other issues. I mean, we really, right as that land sale issue was happening, we saw something happening on Solana where there was an NFT drop. The way that you spam an NFT drop on Solana is not by having a higher gas price, it's by just calling more transactions, because transactions are essentially free. So you had these bots who, they weren't spamming really high gas prices. They were spamming millions and millions of transactions, and it crashed the whole Solana network. The Solana network was offline for 7 hours.
Wow. Sort of
So
DDoS on Solana. Sort
right,
of.
exactly. But you can never DDoS Ethereum. It would basically be prohibitively expensive to DDoS Ethereum. So I think whenever you have a fee, there's real inherent challenges here, because these blockchains have to be up and running 24/7, 365. They can never go down. So I think what will evolve is the way that people use the blockchain. I mean, for example, when we did the $92 million sale with POC, that caused no gas war. I think in total it costs around $200,000 in gas. And the reason that it worked so well is because Nifty Gateway is essentially this abstraction layer that sits in between the customer and the blockchain. We handle all of the purchases, and then once everyone has paid for what they bought and said, "Here's where I want my NFT delivered to," then the minting happens later. So I think basically we'll see more systems like that develop. I mean, Yuga could have used an abstraction layer. They could have done a mint pass or a raffle to decide who would be eligible to mint the land. There are a lot of different ways that they could have done this sale that would not have resulted in
Interesting.
yeah. So I think that's what will happen, is people will eventually realize, hey, we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do mints this way because it'll ruin the blockchain. And that's, you see the same thing happening in web technology too, where people, instead of altering the fundamental technologies, which have these limitations that can't be changed, people just add abstraction layers and they add content delivery networks, and that makes the whole thing faster. To the user, it appears like everything is working well. That's the way that I think things will develop in blockchain.
Yeah, interesting. Also because I read their tweet where basically they said, "Oh, but we'll have to develop our own blockchain," but maybe they could have, as you said, approached the problem in a different way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of silly. I think this is, a lot of people were accusing them of essentially doing this on purpose so that they would have an excuse to launch their own blockchain. I'm not that conspiratorially minded. I personally don't think that that is the case, but it is a little silly to say, "Oh wow, this we need to launch our own blockchain," when there were so many things they could have done to make this sale go smoothly on Ethereum. It's like, maybe finish what you start first before deciding to launch another blockchain. And it's kind of hilarious because this is exactly what Dapper Labs did in 2017 when CryptoKitties, CryptoKitties exploded and they decided to launch their own blockchain. I think it's been a more difficult road than they anticipate. And Flow is, it has a lot of traction with Dapper Labs projects, but it hasn't really gotten usage outside of that.
Yeah, got it.
Excuse me.
Well, what did you study, Duncan? I was curious about it. Do you have like a mathematical mind, a philosophical mind? What did you study?
I studied computer science, actually.
Okay.
So just a boring old engineering mind. Griffith, my brother and co-founder, studied mathematics, but neither one of us studied philosophy.
Okay, interesting. I've been studying law, and I was always thinking, gosh, for an entrepreneur, I would have loved to be more, mathematical and that kind of approach. I think, I don't know, when you need to calculate cost of acquisition, lifetime value, and these kind of things, law doesn't really help. So I always think that it's a good asset to have.
Okay, but it helps in other ways.
Yeah.
You can figure out, if someone on your legal team is telling you we can't launch this product, you can be like, no, we can launch it this way. You can, yeah, it's helpful in other ways.
That's a good point. You launched Nifty Gateway. I mean, not long time ago. In my mind, you are here since 1995, but actually you are here since, I don't know, 3 years ago. I don't know when was the official launch.
Yeah, it was the official launch was in 2018. We're coming up on the 4-year anniversary, actually.
Wow.
Of the official launch.
Crazy.
So it does feel like multiple lifetimes in NFTs.
It really it does, and you got basically an exit very quickly, right? So it was 6 months in or something like that.
Correct. Yes.
How did it play out? Because when I sold my startups, I mean, it never ended well, actually, if I think, because then you can't really do whatever you want to do, or, it doesn't work. And then you just leave and bye-bye. How did it work for you? Because it looks like it's working pretty well.
Yeah. I guess we got lucky, I suppose. Basically, we met the Winklevoss twins at the end of we did a startup accelerator called Boost VC. And, Nifty Gateway was founded by me and my identical twin brother. So almost kind of as like a meme, really. The head of our accelerator was like, "You guys are twins building in crypto. You need to meet the Winklevoss twins, who are also twins building in crypto." And we basically said, "Okay." I mean, that would be great. The Winklevoss twins were. This was in 2019, so yeah, it was 7 months after we launched the company. The Winklevoss twins were into NFTs at this time. They were ahead of the curve on NFTs, and they basically had a thesis that NFTs would develop and grow a lot. So, they wanted to diversify Gemini into the NFT business. And then when we met them, I think we really just clicked. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So we got acquired about 7 months after we started the company. The great part about it was we had raised very little money. So Griffin and I owned basically, almost all of the equity. Um, and we were really between the acquisition and like raising a seed round. And we pretty, we knew that Gemini would give us stuff that we wouldn't have access to with the seed round, from a technology perspective and a BD perspective. So, and we were also, uh, I think we I guess we had underestimated the difficulty of starting a company. Um, we when we first launched the company, we basically thought, like, oh, this will be great. We can go out and raise money, but raising money was harder than we thought. We launched a product which got some traction, but it was harder to earn revenue than we thought. It was really hard to hire people. Basically, everything about starting a company is difficult.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and the Winklevoss twins were very, they basically told us, come here and build this company the way that you see fit, and we'll support you. We were a bit skeptical. I mean, we thought, okay, this is what everyone says. We knew there was a chance that they were lying, but they weren't lying at all, and that's exactly what happened. So I think in that sense, we got lucky. Every acquisition is really a gamble or a risk to some degree. But in our case, it really turned out well, and it's been fantastic. I mean, we were just 2 people when the company got acquired. We're now 70 people. You know, the we've really been able to like grow and scale Nifty Gateway in a way that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And yeah, we're coming up on next month. That'll be the 3-year anniversary of the acquisition. So